Ah, the immune system, a glorious barrier that stands between you and death on a daily basis. There are three lines of defense in the immune system, though today I will only focus on the first two. The first line of defense acts like walls to a great city, keeping out undesirables. In your body, this barrier includes your skin, mucous membranes, and hair. The skin is the primary barrier between you and the world, which, I will remind you, wants to invade and possibly kill you. It keeps out the invaders with a dead layer of skin on the epidermis, known as squamous cells. These will commonly slough off and take off bacteria and pathogens with them. Your skin is also dry and oily, which makes it waterproof. This allows you to keep in necessary liquids but keep out unnecessary liquids, letting your body maintain a proper homeostatic environment. Your mucous membranes are similar to the skin in function, but they line the inside of your body, known as the digestive tract, and they secrete mucus. They also keep out inhaled foreign agents. Finally, the hairs in your nose help filter air that any microbes may have come in with to trap them. If this fails, you can always rely on your respiratory tract and the mucous membranes to finish the job. If the microbes get past your first line of defense and begin to invade your body, you can defend yourself with a rank of generic soldiers in the second line of defense. Though these soldiers are not trained, they can effectively subdue or stop the microbes by killing and or eating them. These soldiers are made up most commonly of 5 types of white blood cells: neutrophils, lymphocytes, eosinophils, monocytes, and basophils. Platelets also work to protect your body from bacteria and open sores. Keep in mind, platelets are not true cells. They are actually fragments of larger cells called megakaryocytes. Platelets work by using proteins on their membranes to bind or stick to different materials. The stickiness of the platelets helps reduce blood flow so white blood cells can fix the problems. One of the biggest parts of our innate immune system is the inflammatory response. The most noticeable sign that your inflammatory response is at work is when your skin becomes red, swollen, and warm. This is triggered whenever tissue is damaged, which can be a result of physical or microbial damage. The damaged cells in the tissue release chemicals like histamine that trigger a response which, in this case, would affect nearby blood vessels. Once being penetrated, the blood vessels dilate, allowing more blood to flow through them and allowing various white blood cells to leave the vessels and enter the tissue space. Once these white blood cells, normally phagocytic, arrive, they begin to carry out their main function of the inflammatory response, to disinfect and clean out the injured tissues. The bacteria that have entered the wound are engulfed by the white blood cells, along with any parts of dead cells that may have been killed during the infection. Unfortunately, many of these white blood cells die in the process, a noble sacrifice. This is where pus comes from, mostly dead white blood cells along with fluid from capillaries, tissue, and debris. Once most of the battle has been finished, your body relies on clotting proteins and platelets to seal off the infection and allow healing to begin. The details of the clotting cascade are not important information for AP biology. The inflammation response that I have just described was a localized infection. In worse situations, the infection may be systemic, which is when bacteria or protozoans release toxins that are carried throughout the bloodstream. These widespread infections are most commonly seen in fevers. However, when a systemic inflammatory response gets out of control, it can cause septic shock. This causes a high fever, low pressure, and can often lead to death, even in hospitals. One part of the innate immune system that is often underappreciated is the interferon mechanism. Interferons are proteins that are produced by cells that have been infected by viruses. The main role of the interferon is to limit the spread of viruses. This process begins when a virus infects a cell, releases a viral nucleic acid that turns on the interferon gene in the cell's DNA. The DNA then triggers a release of messenger RNA, or mRNA. This then creates the proteins, or the interferons. The interferon spread throughout the cell, outside of the original cell, which is most likely dead from the virus, into neighboring cells. The interferons then stimulate the cell contacts to turn on the gene for antiviral proteins. These antiviral proteins stop the pathogens that originally created it. Thank you, and I hope that's helpful.